Hi, I'm Andrew Shapin, the CEO of Long Tall Sally. Long Tall Sally is the world's leading destination for tall women's fashion. We are an online-led omni-channel retailer who operates in 130 countries or ships to 130 countries around the world. We're localized in 5 core markets, the UK, the US, Germany, Canada, and Australia, with the US being our largest and fastest growing market. But our strategy is to expand everywhere around the globe. I joined the business in 2007 in September, at which time we were a UK-based retailer selling tall women's fashion, doing around 10 million in sales, and 75% of our business through stores, through bricks and mortar, and 95% in the UK. Today we're 70% online and 70% outside of the UK, and with ambitious plans to continue to grow. And the sales now are around 5x what they were then, and we're profitable and growing. The success of the business has really been driven by a single unifying passion amongst all of our staff, many of whom are tall women, who wake up in the morning and go to bed at night thinking about how to make tall women feel great. And tall women have historically had a really hard time finding clothes that fit, that make them look great. And I've got an entire team of people who are dedicated and passionate about this cause. And the combination of this single unifying purpose, coupled and enabled by cutting-edge technology on our websites and running through our business, I think have been the 2 kind of key things that have helped drive our growth. We'd always had in-house development as part of our kind of ecosystem of how we approached technology and how we thought about being able to deliver features and benefits for our customers on our websites and other technologies. And it just became more and more apparent to me that there was going to be a requirement for us to take a greater control of the process. And we didn't necessarily have in-house all the capability to be able to enable us to achieve this. And so we spoke to Mark about how we could build this capability. And I think around that time they were coming to the same conclusion and developing a product, really just for this purpose. So having come from a business like Long Tall Sally where we'd had some in-house capability for 6 or 7 years, they were also coming to the conclusion that for retailers to have the appropriate level of competitive advantage in the marketplace, they were going to need to be able to be more nimble, to need to be able to release benefits and features for customers and for the various user journeys on a much more regular basis than a traditional SI was allowing. And so they had developed this new product to help companies just like ours, and it really was a perfect marriage, and has been a very successful partnership.
Yeah, I think the value in the partnership and in the relationship goes back to 2007, 2008. We understand the business exceptionally well because of that involvement over that period of time. And we also act in a way that really is always about doing the right thing for Long Tall Sally, and not necessarily ourselves as a consulting business. So we want to add value, we want to ensure that they're making the right decisions, that they're protected, that they have the flexibility, the portability and the control they need to grow their business and move it forward. And in every piece of advice we give or every decision we help them make, that's at the back of our minds, and that's what our focus is on doing.
Long Tall Sally decided to take control of IT development on the Hybris platform in order that we are able to increase the speed that we can launch new benefits and features for our customers. The customers' requirements are constantly evolving and they're changing on a regular basis. The number of markets that we're operating in is changing on a regular basis. The scope of our product range, what we're offering, the combination of content and commerce and community, which is a big part of what we do, is constantly evolving, and the technology needed to support that is growing, the requirement for additional technology support that is growing all the time. It's something that we really felt we had to have control of in order that we're able to stay ahead of the competition. And we feel that by having control, it gives us real competitive advantage.
So I think additionally, one of the benefits Long-Tall Sally have seen throughout this process of bringing development in-house is not only the expansion of their internal team, but the creativity and the capability within that team has improved dramatically. The skills, the competencies, and the attitude, giving those people that control and that responsibility has actually been a great thing for the team as a whole, I think.
No question about it. Our guys love nothing more than owning the whole problem and being the masters of their own destiny, not being reliant on a third-party supplier in order to have to deliver what they're required to deliver. The risks involved with bringing our IT development fully in-house were around the kind of failure points. We own it. There's no one to shout at the end of the phone. We mitigated that to a large extent by hiring eComp. I can shout at Mark and Paul, and more than that, they had with their team the ability to really train up our team to act as a backstop, to provide mentoring and support and real discipline and process, to guide us on the decisions on the appropriate tooling that we had to put in place.
Yeah, I think one of the big risks is that you have to hire a lot of people. You have to train a lot of people. The costs of doing that are not small. So one of the mitigation points was really putting in a process and putting in tools, which Andrew's alluded to, tools which provided much more automation around the development, build and testing process to alleviate time from the team so they could focus on what was actually delivering real value, and they could achieve more with a much smaller team. And so what we've done is we've cross-trained existing team members in the use of Agile and the use of the DevOps tooling that we've helped implement. And so the requirement to bring in lots of new people hasn't really been required, actually. So I think we've only actually made one new hire in the team to actually do this, which I think is an exceptional proof point of the capability that already existed, and just with a few tweaks and cross-training we were able to skill that team up pretty quickly.
The lessons we've learned from bringing the development in-house and building our internal capability are kind of business school textbook similar lessons that we would say on almost every other project. Be a little clearer up front, do more training up front, but to be honest, it's been really successful. It happened pretty much on time, it happened on budget. We did it to begin with one less person than we thought we were going to do it with, and then we got the hires on board. And so, I think the real lesson is with the appropriate level of planning and with the right partners, that it's eminently doable. We're a pretty small business in the omnichannel space, and now we are fully in-house with our technology and our web development. So, yeah, I think the real lesson is, for us, I wish we'd done it sooner.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that there were some challenges on the project. Not only were we transitioning away from an external development or outsourced development partner, we had a transition phase of bringing that in-house, and that's the development capability, that's the support, and the operations behind keeping that mission-critical application, that business application up, that's doing so much revenue. So there was risk around that had to be mitigated, and that was a project in itself, the transition. We wanted to, as part of that transition, implement this new way of working and this culture within the business, using Agile as a methodology and using a lot of really clever tools, DevOps tools, around knowledge sharing, around automation, around release processes. And again, that is a project in itself. So I guess we kind of undertook 3 projects: a transition, a cultural change around how the organisation was going to work, and the tooling implementation. So I guess if we were doing it again, perhaps a little bit more time, as Andrew alluded to, maybe more training much earlier on before the transition started would have been more helpful. But we got it done, and it has been successful, and the team are benefiting, and the business is benefiting hugely from what we've achieved.